Good evening. Welcome to Urban Facts. I'm your host, Eamon Hotep Parker. Today we will be interviewing Miss Quadera Ball. Let's pull up her situation here. Let me get this here. Um, we want to hold on. I probably should have got this ready a long time ago, huh? Hope everybody doing good. While I try to get my life together here. All right, but so let's see here. um, all right, so that's the young lady we'll be interviewing today. It's Quadera Ball on the importance of college. So hopefully that's going to be good there. Some reason we having a problem here with the presentation. Oh, hold on. We gotta change the date to the 20th. Hold on. All right, that's the day. Save changes. We're having a little mishap real fast. Let's see if I can fix it. Um, let me see here. For some reason, it's not letting us view it on Facebook. We might have to cancel real fast and go back then. I'm gonna try to fix it. We're having a technical difficulty here. So let's change this date to the 20th. Today is the 20th. Save this. Oh, hold on. This is 7:05. Save the changes. All right, that's not working. It's gotta be a half hour ahead. So, all right. So, unfortunately, it won't be on Facebook due to an error that we had, but we still gonna have the show go on anyway. So, um, Ms. Ball will be talking about the importance of college. Before we get into that, we will be doing a clip from a young lady who had acid thrown on her from another child, and we'll discuss the ramifications of that. So let's get the clip, the video clip showing for that there. So let's see here. Is that ready? I'm gonna get it together in a second. All right, here we go.
It hurts a lot.
A trip to a school playground on Sunday, July 9th, has now left an 11-year-old traumatized and in lots of pain.
My cousin and a girl, they had started fighting. And then once they got done fighting, she was like, I got something for y'all.
That something was a substance believed to be acid.
Her mother met her in the park, by the park, and gave her the substance, the chemical, to throw on the kids. And she told the kids that's what they get for messing with her daughter.
All the kids were able to scatter quickly, avoiding harm, but De'Ara Summers soon realized she left her purse, went back to grab it, putting her in harm's way.
2 seconds after it hit me, it just like started burning.
De'Ara's brother was also at the park and called home to tell his mom what he saw.
Smoke was coming off her body from head to toe, and holes were coming in her clothes. And he said that they were all running home from the park.
De'Ara was rushed to a local hospital with severe burns.
I had third and second degree all the way from my back down.
De'Ara is also having difficulties walking, and her mom is so emotionally overwhelmed, she has difficulties working.
No sleep, no eating, no nothing. Because I have to make sure my daughter's needs are met.
The family has started a GoFundMe account to help pay for the unexpected medical bills. Now, this family wants justice.
I'm really bothered by the fact that the suspects are still walking around freely.
Detroit police tell Fox 2 it's not their case because it took place on the property of a Detroit Public Schools Community District playground, and therefore DPSCD police are investigating. We reached out to DPSCD and are told police are still investigating. They also released a statement which reads in part, "The incident did not involve our employees or was it connected to a district or school event. This is a community matter involving two families that do not both attend our school district or the school." As this mom fights for justice, she says she's also fighting to make sure her daughter does not become depressed.
I just give her words of encouragement, let her know she's still beautiful. This is just a minor setback for a major comeback. She's gonna come on top, and justice will be served.
In Detroit.
All right. So the situation that happened there is horrific. We actually tried to reach out to the young lady's mom today, so we can send out our condolences to the family in regards to that event. The parenting, I know some of you guys are tired of me talking about the parenting, but this is what it is. You can't tell your child to retaliate and throw acid on another child because they didn't win the fight. Your child isn't going to win everything, especially fights. You know what I mean? Excuse me. If your parenting was substantial, then you wouldn't have to worry about things such as fights, because your child may be less likely to be, an aggressor to somebody else. So we definitely gotta, be on the lookout for that. What happened to that young lady was horrible. It shouldn't have happened to anybody, but unfortunately it did. And things need to be corrected to ensure things like that doesn't happen. So now let's just move to a little lighter side of news today. So this young man here, he is honoring his mother during his kindergarten graduation. So let's check this out.
In Sterling Heights, Michigan tonight, the story behind these images of a kindergarten class at New Dawn Academy cheering for 6-year-old Jackson Carter. He gave a speech in honor of his mother, Taryn, who he tragically lost in a fire last year.
I was a little 5-year-old who had lost my beautiful mother a month before.
Wow.
Jackson persevered for his mother, winning his class spelling bee, receiving multiple honors in kindergarten, and thanking his teachers and his family.
It's the best that I get to the best teacher ever. This is easy. Let me have it.
Miss Solomon overwhelmed, and Jackson went on, thanking his father.
It's best to thank you to my dad. You are the best daddy ever.
And dedicating his speech to his mother.
I dedicate my my heart.
All right. So these are type of accomplishments that we want to see from our youth. Graduating with school honors, congratulating their parents for being there for them in their corner. This parenting thing it's not the easiest thing, but I mean it's not the most horrible thing either. I mean it's not horrible at all, depending on what type of parent that you are. The reason why we have Ms. Bell come today, because like I said, I want um the importance of college to be, ejected onto, parents so they can see how important that it is. It's more than just college tuitions and, don't go to college because you probably gonna have to pay the bill. And, I mean, all that's true. College is expensive. You do have to pay the bill back, but that doesn't mean don't go. So please don't let that deter you from wanting to go to college. And like some people said, college isn't for everybody. But let me just correct that before I elaborate on that. College can be for everybody. It depends on, the preparation of the person as a child by the parent. Now, if the parent is preparing the child for college at a young age, I would say at 5, just talking about college, telling them different things about like education, what college you went to when you were younger. It gets the child mind, eager and curious about it. You can't wait till you like the child is in 12th grade and now you asking, or you're not even really preparing them, even like academically. If your child is struggling from first grade to 12th grade, then that person isn't ready for college. They probably not even ready for trade school because they didn't have the academic stamina for high school, and now you want to go into a post-secondary position, and that's going to be even harder for that individual. My children's mother works in education, so for our kids, it was kind of easy, because she had that background. But everybody's mom and dad may not work in education, but that doesn't mean that your child is going to lack academically. You just have to do what you have to do as a parent to ensure that, your child needs are met educationally. So you might have to hire some tutors or, look up some lessons online so you can relate to the type of work that your child is doing. So now let's just look at some, we're going to look at some statistics in regards to the crime rate and high school diplomas. So this is what we're looking at. So this is the national, educational attainment for correctional populations and general population. So this is for the United States. This is a report I found, and it's basically giving a breakdown of people that are incarcerated based on their education. So now this is the total incarcerated. That's the first column right there. So some high school or less, that's 41.3%. So that's just some high school. So if you're a high school dropout, it's a 41% chance that you could be going to prison, depending on your direction in life, who you hanging around, your peers and things of that nature. GED is a 23.4%. High school diploma is a 22.6%. Post-secondary, that's college, that's 12.7%. So the chart is basically telling you that, everybody has some type of involvement with criminal activity. Now, depending on your type of education, is going to depend on how likely the person is to want to be involved in criminal activity. You know, if you just have a high school diploma, or let's just go back to number one, you know, the top one was 41.3%, where it's just some college. That person doesn't have, I would say, excuse me, let me pull myself back up on here. That person with with some college doesn't have things to motivate them to go forward. You know, some high school, I'm sorry. So even to work at McDonald's, you need a high school diploma. You know, to work at Chick-fil-A, you need a high school diploma. Work at any high school, you need a high school diploma to work at a fast food restaurant. You know, Burger King, IHOP, Wawa, things like that. So without a high school diploma, it makes it harder for the person to find work. And if you got kids, it makes it harder for that person to take care of their family. So now crime is the next best thing for them. Or, you know, you go out and do your little hustle, and, you know, they may try to do something like, you know, let's just say they try to sell clothes, or they want to make clothes, or, you know, whatever they hustle may be. Now, if the legal hustle doesn't work, you know, they may try to do something that's illegal. And this is where these numbers is coming from. Because the person doesn't have the educational experience to succeed further in life. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. It is some jobs out there that you don't need education at all. You know, you get paid under the table. I mean, you ain't got to be that bright to be a bouncer at a nightclub. You know, all you got to do is just be strong and, you know, fearless. And you can get that job. But these type of jobs also could be, you know, require a lot of labor, require a lot of physical contact. Like I said, if you're a nightclub bouncer, then that's physical contact, because you got to actually touch the person to put them out the club. Now, the person that you touching, if they don't want to be touched, then they're going to touch you back. And they might do more than just try to touch you back. You know, it could be a gunfight, or, you know, they might try to stab you, or it could be a fight. You know what I mean? Now, this is all just due to the type of employment you have based on your education. You know, now I'm not saying that, don't get me wrong, with or without a high school education or a college degree, you can't have a successful life. Now, the probability of that is just low. Because like we just was looking at, we got 41.3% of people. Now, this is the United States. Now, keep in mind that this report was made in 2003. So this was 20 years ago. So this could be off by 10, or it could be plus or minus 10. It could be 31%, or it could be 51%. But whatever the percentage is, don't let your child fall in that percentile. We already got a report that says that with less than a college degree, you got a 41, with just less than high school diploma, you got a 41.3% of going to prison. That's the United States. That's back in 2003. Now, with just the high school diplomas, 22.6. So you can go to jail, 22.6% that you can go to jail with just a high school diploma. That's if you're not trying to do something with your life. You know, if you're hanging out with Baby and them, or whoever, you hanging out on the corner and smoking weed and all that type stuff, then you headed, that's your percentile. You're looking at that 22.6%. So let's look at something else before we bring Ms. Bell on. Ball. I'm sorry. She gonna kill me. Let me see. All right, so income. We're gonna look at income right fast. So I gotta pull it up a little bigger for me. So it's the annual median earnings for workers aged 22 to 27. So this is probably about, I'd say about 4 or 5 years out of high school. So with just a high school diploma, now this is from aplu.org. I believe this was the year for this was 2023, I believe. So high school diploma, the earnings for this person is $3,000 a year, $30,000 a year. So a bachelor's degree holders, they're looking at 52. Now, I was just talking to my daughter yesterday. Everybody, most of these kids are not going for, well, some, I can't say most because I don't know the numbers. They're not going for a master's degree after the bachelor's degree. They settling for that, and then, they're going to try to go and find a career. So the number of kids with a bachelor's degree is a lot. It's almost the same number of kids that will have a high school diploma. So you're looking at the competition of these kids with just bachelor's degrees, and it's kind of like slim pickings to find like real good employment, because now the competition is even a little bit more tougher, because not only do you have a bachelor's degree, but the next interviewee has a bachelor's degree. And if you go 4 or 5 interviewees ahead, that person might have a master's degree. So it makes the job hunt just a little bit harder. I ain't gonna say it's gonna be entirely hard, but just a little bit tougher. You know what I mean? So I always encourage people to get a master's degree. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some jobs that you can have a bachelor's degree and, you smooth sailing. But you got to do the research for that. So when, the job that you want, make sure that's something that you have an interest for. If you don't like Band-Aids and blood and assigning people medicine, then being a doctor ain't for you, because that's the primary function of their job. So let's bring on Ms. Ball. We're going to bring on Ms. Quadera Ball. She is one of the board members here of the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation. So without further ado, Ms. Quadera Ball.
Hi.
How you doing there?
I'm well.
All right. How was your day?
It was good. Regular, typical day. Summer hours, so not the full regular school hours.
Okay, cool. So tell us what exactly is your job?
Okay, so I am a college and career / Keystone Pathway / school administrator for one of the local schools in the city of Philadelphia. You want me to say something else besides my occupation?
Yeah, I thought that would have been longer than that. My bad.
No. My title is not too long.
So what does that entail? Like what do you do?
Okay, so on a day-to-day basis, at my particular organization, we have 6 campuses, 2 night schools, 4 day schools. So I'm at one of our largest campuses, so I service 200 students. So typically my job is to meet with students one-to-one, to go over their credits, to make sure they're earning the right credits in the correct classes, giving them the projected graduation date. There is something called Keystone Pathways in the city. So the Pennsylvania State Education Board basically said that we need these things done to pretty much prove that you guys are ready for school. So it's called Keystone Pathways. So you have to gather evidence to prove that these students are ready for graduation. So one of the things that I do after students take their Keystone test, I look at their scores between biology, algebra 2, and English and kind of see where their scores are. If their scores are not really where it needs to be, then I start gathering evidence where I have kids do CPR. They may get certified being a mandated reporter, and that entails like reporting any type of child abuse in the city. I may have some of my young gentlemen take training that teaches them how to properly use a ladder. Some kids actually get certifications in a thing called OSHA, and there's different avenues through that. It's my job to bring on college reps to my campus so students could be exposed to different colleges and trade schools in the city. I take them on college tours. When it comes to the school coordinator position, when it's time to take the Keystone testing, it's my job to pretty much organize like the testing rooms, my proctors, make sure we have all our materials from the DRC. It's my job to distribute them during testing and make sure that everything is packaged up to go back to the DRC to be scored.
Okay. Now, did you see the statistics I had up?
Yes.
To the, what
yes.
was your thoughts on that?
So what was the date for those statistics? That was one. What was it a date on it for the statistics?
Now, that was from 2003.
Okay.
So, normally statistics, and like I said, they may vary up or down.
Okay.
So I don't really, I didn't have an up-to-date one, but, even from 2003, that's still a little alarming.
So it has changed drastically because I'm in the middle of doing my own research right now. And I'm actually getting my dissertation. I'm doing my dissertation. So I'm going to school to get my doctorate, which is the highest degree that you can actually get in the country. And my topic is pretty much around education and how Black women are succeeding and excelling in leadership roles. So statistics have changed drastically a lot. There is a higher level of first gen and African Americans and students of color who are going to college to obtain more degrees or certifications. Now, whether or not they are completing those programs to the end, that's a different question. But more students have enrolled in post-secondary programs since then.
Well, since 2003, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys, have you in your research, have you come across, the statistics of youth or just individuals that have been going to prison that have a high school diploma versus a college degree?
Is there information out there? Yes, but I haven't came across it because I'm not really researching in the area. But I think there are more people who are getting degrees because there are programs, from what I know and heard, there are more programs that's put in place for inmates to get their high school diplomas, or there may be other like dual enrollment programs where if they get their high school diploma and then they enroll in this portion, they can get like some type of certification. Then when they get out, they can further on.
Mm-hmm.
So is it out there? Yes, but I haven't came across it, not for me personally.
Oh, okay. Now, tell us about how was education implemented in your development process coming up as a child?
For me, it was different. I come from a first generation low income family. Majority of my family did not finish high school. So pretty much I will be the first person in my immediate family to earn a doctorate degree. I'm actually the first person in my family to get my bachelor's and my master's. So for me, when I was in middle school, my high school counselor was kind of like connected with like one of the local Upward Bound programs. And Upward Bound is it's like a college preparatory program in the city. And they were talking about recruiting students. So I was one of 10 who was actually recruited from 8th grade going into high school to participate in this particular program. And how it worked was that you would have to be going into your 9th grade year the following year. It's a 4-year program, so they pretty much give you additional support out of your traditional high school, and they expose you to the experience of college. So during the academic school year, 3 Saturdays out of the month, I committed to getting on a school bus that they kind of coordinate for me to get on to come to the campus and take like your math, science, English, and writing. But it was aligned to what I was doing in school to give me extra support. And then during the school year, they would take you to like local colleges and like, you know, enrichment programs to kind of like expose you to different things. And then they also have like a summer component where you actually go onto the campus, actually stay with hired staff for about 6 weeks, 5 weeks, Monday through Thursday. You're on campus taking courses that you would take your following year. So the summer before my sophomore year in high school, I was taking all the classes that I was taking 10th grade. So like my 10th grade English, 10th grade math, 10th grade science, 10th grade social science, 10th grade writing to kind of get me ahead of everyone the following year. So each year I did it, I was always ahead of the group that I was going into the following school year. And they also had other things where they had people come in and teach us financial literacy, teach us how to sew, just to kind of get us acclimated to like different trades out there. And then during the last week of the program, they will pick a city or a state to go to, and we will travel there. So I know one year we went to Virginia, so I got the chance to go to like Norfolk State University, Virginia State University, and I was exposed to like museums and stuff like that. But again, because I came from a family who didn't have the educational background, without this program, I wouldn't have been exposed to those things. And then having that support of like knowing how to apply for FAFSA, the information that needs to go on there, like how to apply for an application, how to write a personal essay. I think a lot of times that I kind of struggle with my students now with like, what are the things that are really meaningfully that should be going into your personal statement for these college applications that can actually make you stand out.
That's really important, because even when, I talk to individuals in regards to, education, just running into them, on a day-to-day basis, a lot of folks don't have the support from parents, or, the parents may not have been in college themselves, so they don't really know how the process works. So I think that program is excellent. So at what particular junction in your life did you realize education was important?
I think having the individual adults in that program who was able to like share their own experiences, expose me to do different experiences. Like I said, during the college tour. So like when you go on these campuses and you hear these reps or the admission counselors talk about these different things, and you start thinking about like your passions and what drives you, and just like, like I always knew I wanted to work with youth. I just didn't know how. And I knew from listening to these people talk to me, I had to get a certification, or I had to get a degree somewhere to support my goals in order for me to be put in the positions that I wanted to be. So, then I started talking to my upper band counselor, like, hey, like, I think this is what I want. Then we started talking about like local colleges, like if I wanted to go in state or out of state. So for me, it was always in state because I never wanted to pay the out of state tuition. So we started looking in programs of like, okay, if you're saying you want to do this, most likely you're looking at education. So then I started looking at programs in colleges and university in Pennsylvania that actually had education. And then when you're looking at the programs, you really have to read the program description and mission, because a lot of times programs will say, oh, it's under education, but it will be listed under leadership. And then the objectives may be totally different from what you're trying to gain from that program. So I think a lot for me was the environment that I was in, and then the people that was in my environments kind of like motivating me and kind of pushing me in a direction that I kind of knew I wanted to go in, but I was unsure.
Now, are you saying that the name of the program was Upper Bound?
Yes.
Upper Bound.
Yeah, so there's a couple in the city. So the particular one I'm talking about is called Harcum College Trio Upper Bound. So that particular upper bound is at Harcum, which is located in Bremar, PA. There is an upper bound at CCP. Temple actually has two upper bounds. They have a math and science upper bound, and then they have the regular upper bound. And then University of Penn has an upper bound as well. And then they have something there as well. It's called Talent Search. It's similar to upper bound, but it's slightly different.
Oh, okay. And I guess in that program, like you said, it just helps the student advance, I guess, faster through their grades or whatever.
Yeah, so it pretty much gives you the tools and skills that you need to progress through high school, and then help you trying to find different avenues or pathways that lead you to your end goal. So, like I said, for me, I just knew I wanted to work with youth. I kind of wanted to be in a school setting. So we started planning out like, these are the certifications or programs that you need to enroll in. And then when I started looking at it, I'm like, okay, so that means I have to go to college. But I know for me, being exposed to their pre-college experience of living on Harkham's campus, I knew I was going to college regardless if I was sure what my major was going to be.
From just the experience at Harkham.
Just from the experience at Harkham.
And that was while you was in high school though.
Yeah, that's when I was in high school.
Right. So from your experience at college, from your collegiate experience, how important would you say college is today for inner city youth? That's even with the situation that youth are going through today, with the murders and, it being in the inner city and things of that nature.
Right. So I think going to college there is a lot of advantages. I think for me personally, I think the disadvantage is just the cost of tuition, because it's extremely high from when I started school in 2010. But I always try to tell my students, you have to have credit in life in order to get certain things, and there is the thing of like having good credit. So I think for me, when you go to college, it gives you the opportunity to be open to diversity, learning like the different avenues of political processes, gender roles, and kind of like just getting to know who you are, knowing different peoples, learning different cultures. For me, coming from like Philly and then going to Lincoln and then being exposed to like people from New York, even though the state is only 2 states over, it was a different culture shock because they do things differently than we do. They speak differently than us. Their culture and values are kind of like different from us. And it's just a great experience and the bonds that you get to have. And it takes you out of the place of your normalcy and then put in a place that's unknown where you're allowed to be yourself or find who you are.
I think that's important with the just having that college experience, because it does, I guess it gives you like that cultural experience of being, a college student, and it gives you, like I said before, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's more of a, how can I say, something that would progress your future even further, because now you have these tools to look for, different things that can help you excel in life.
Yeah.
So that's definitely important. Now, what are the benefits of going to college from your experience? Well, just in general.
I think honestly, and I'm just gonna be totally honest, I think for me being a high school counselor, the way I sell college is there's never going to be a time in life where you feel as if you're an adult, you live on your own, you have food and shelter, but you don't pay any bills. And that's pretty much what college is. Like your tuition is paying for like your food, the facilities, your teachers, and your room and board. So for me, that was the best time of my life. Like I did what I wanted. I was able to be in a space where no one told me what to do, and I made my own rules, but I was given a space to find out who I was. The experience of like, and each university and college is different, but I know for me, going to the first historical Black college was very, very important because that's where it started for people of color, and to be exposed to, even down to having a student union where they had events that was driven to Black people to talk about gun violence, or they had different panels where they talk about how is it being a Black woman on campus and having biases of Black men or the Black boys or young men being able to do certain things that young women are not able to do. And I think for me, it's just like I said, I just sell it on like, there's never going to be a time in your life where you can be an adult, live somewhere free, and you can make your own choices.
That's right. That's
and then you can
right.
kind of go into the facts of like the different organizations that you can be a part of, like internships and opportunities, building relationships and connections, because a lot of your longtime friends will come from college.
Right. That's absolutely correct. Now, do you have any suggestions in regards to, I guess, low income families trying to pay for college?
Um, there's a lot of avenues. I would definitely kind of like reach out to local communities. Definitely try to get your child into like one of the college preparatory programs in the city. A lot of them definitely have their own guidelines of how they accept students. College Board is definitely a good resource. So that's one that I promote. I require all of my graduating students to actually have an account in College Board. They will have like scholarships. They will give you tips on how to apply for FAFSA. They will explain what the SAT and ACT is. They help you sign up. They actually have webinars. So I get a lot of emails about like there's one that's coming up and it's talking about pathways to college, how to pay for college, the importance of college, time management. So that is definitely a good resource. So I will start there. Then I would just kind of like just search anything. I would just search college preparatory programs or college prep in Philadelphia, and there will be a list of things that come up. You also have College of Possibility. I believe it is. That's another one. That's another one that supports the youth in the city as well.
Now, what if the child has already graduated from high school, and they still looking for funding? What would be avenues that person could look into?
I would look into, like I said, I would definitely use College Board, because College Board is not one of those things where it only closes off after you graduate. And then the what do you call it? If you log into the FAFSA application, they actually have grants and funding there. And I actually played around with it the other day, but I'm not eligible for a lot of that stuff because I'm in grad school. So I think it's more so like just doing a lot of research within your city and going through it. And I think that's the problem with this generation. They don't want to read, and reading is fundamental. So you just have to take the time to like, you kind of reach out. And I think the biggest thing is asking for help, because you just never know. I can't tell you how many times where I've sat around coworkers and they just like, hey, like I have this kid, do you have a resource? And I'm just like sending it to them. So you just have to use the people around you, even if they don't have an educational background. Even your parents may have friends who have an educational background, or have a friend of a friend who has that experience and can share resources. I've had friends whose friend who needed something from me, and I was just like, I don't have a problem with sharing this resource or giving you something I may have extra for my school that I'm able to give out for your child, to read, because I get books delivered to me. It's called I actually have one somewhere. It's called College Something, and in that book, it gives you all the list of like local colleges, all the HBCUs in the city, like how to prepare for the SAT and ACT. So if I have any of those extra books, I kind of give them out to friends or friends of friends who have children that may need an extra resource.
Okay. Well, we definitely work with you, so I need one of them books.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can. I think I have an extra box in my office that I could probably finesse to bring.
Yeah, so send me. Well, you guys don't know, Quadera works for me for the Athletes Acting Foundation. She's on the board, so I want you guys to think like she sending me stuff just randomly, kind of like her job. So send me whatever those resources are, and we can put it together in regards to the brochure that we have in regards to college, and then we can put it on the family group thing that we have on the social media.
I actually forgot one more thing too for students who graduated high school and then go straight to college. LinkedIn is a very, very resourceful platform. I would actually create an account there. A lot of times when you search stuff like grants, applications, or money, different posts will come up. So that is another resource. But like I said, you just have to use the people that's in your circle. I even had my parents who have friends who have kids. They'll call them like, hey, can you ask Quadera about this for my kid? And I'm like, I don't even know this child, but I just can't say no. So if I have it, I'll give it. So you just got everyone around you. I've learned from being an upper bound, the one thing they taught me was everyone around you is a resource. Regardless of what their background is, they are a resource. Regardless if it is a direct resource or an indirect resource, everyone around you is a resource. So if you think of that way, then nothing can get in your way of getting your hands on what you need.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time today. Um, like I said earlier, we were disconnected from Facebook, so uh, it is a link on my page, so you can share that link on your page and send it to your friends and everything, and then that way they'll be able to see the show with you on there.
Okay.
Sorry for the inconvenience, but you'll be back on here again because you have some information that people definitely could use. So
Yeah.
thank you again, and you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good night. Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. That was Miss Quadera Ball, and she was giving us information in regards to the importance of college. So we have a moment in not women's history, but it's Black history. It's been a pretty interesting week. So this is a moment in Black history, not women's history. So we have Miss Ambrielle Parker, and she will be talking about. Let's bring her on, and she can just tell us. Miss Parker, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
That's good. That's good. So what's our moment in Black history for today?
Okay, today I'll be talking about the first National Black Power Conference. So, okay. More than 1,000 people from a wide array of community organizations and other groups convened in New York on July 20th, 1967, to discuss the most pressing issues of the day facing African Americans at the first National Black Power Conference. It was one of the largest such gatherings of Black leaders and representatives of nearly 300 organizations and institutes from 126 cities and 26 states, Bermuda and Nigeria. The conference held workshops, presented papers for specific programs, and developed more than 80 resolutions calling for emphasis of Black power in political, economic, and cultural affairs.
This knowledge, this source of information for our Black History moment.
Can you say that question again?
What did you learn from the Black History moment?
Oh, I learned about the first National Black Conference. I actually didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that actually existed, and I learned that something like that actually happened. And yes,
So that was the National Black Power Movement Conference. You said it was.
yeah, the a National Black Power Conference. Yes.
Yeah. So that conference was in association with the Black Power movement back in I believe that was the late '60s and early '70s. So, like you said, it was excuse me, a conference that brought issues in regards to the Black community. I definitely want to thank you for sharing that information with us. As always, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening. All right, love you. All right, so our next thing on the agenda for today is here we go. Our birthday shout out. So our birthday shout out is this young man right here, Azim Smith. Azim was born July 3rd of this year. So we definitely want to give Mr. Smith a happy birthday. I think for a situation like this baby was just born July 3rd. He can go back. I mean, I don't know how long these videos last on YouTube or whatever. Like 20 years from now, and see that somebody acknowledged his birth. Just because he was a youth. You know what I mean? I'm not sure of who does this thing. I mean, well, I know it's another show that used to do it, early in the morning, way too early. with somebody was before Jonathan Lemire, and then they would, get these birthday shout outs out for children. But something like that is very important to kids because it gives them a sense of acknowledgement. It lets them know that somebody is paying attention to them, somebody cares about them. We want to be more focused on the positive things that youth are doing opposed to all this foolishness that's happening in the city. And it's around the world. The little girl that had the acid thrown on her, that was in Detroit. A year ago, a young lady, what was it? A year ago, a young lady shot a woman, 40-year-old woman, because her mom had an altercation with the woman. She gave her daughter the gun from out of a bag. And like I said, the young lady shot her. Just a couple months ago, a young man brought a gun to school in Virginia and shot his teacher, over some foolishness. We have to be more elevated. We have to get out of the slave mentality. And the slave mentality just doesn't affect just black people. It affects anybody that has that mentality. If you don't have hope, matter of fact, I asked my kids to give me the definition of it. I'm gonna give you one of their answers. Let me see here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you all the answers. So this is one of the answers here. I believe the slave mentality is the notion that the bare minimum is okay to get by with. The bare minimum. It's setting for what you have and not aiming for because you don't view yourself as worthy of achieving so. I believe the slave mentality is harmful to the success to the person. You are lowballing yourself and not allowing yourself to succeed to full capacity. Let's read another one here. I believe the slave mentality is when someone needs to be controlled or feel less than weak. It also means that when you feel limited because of where you are or from being scared of moving forward because something is holding you back, something is holding you still. That's all the slave mentality. When you're scared to move forward because you're not used to something new. Because you don't think you're worthy enough to move forward. I mean, we come from kings and queens. I mean, I don't know the culture of everybody. I know ours. And that's where we come from. It's some European Americans, they come from there too, and I would imagine some Asian Americans also. But we can't have, and this is anybody, we can't have the mentality that we're worth nothing. And we should, just settle for whatever comes our way. If you're the manager at McDonald's, I mean, that's all right for, Calvin. Remember the commercial with Calvin? And he got the job at McDonald's. Well, Calvin was in high school. And I mean, to tell you the truth, I think that commercial was promoting college scholarships. So if Calvin was in high school, he was the manager at McDonald's. McDonald's then gave him the scholarship, a college scholarship. Then that means he should be aiming for something more than just being the manager at McDonald's. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody gotta be the manager at McDonald's, but just don't let it be your baby. I mean, he can be there, the manager while he in high school, even college. But he should have expectations to do more than being the manager at McDonald's and you in your 40s. And it's never too late to go back to school. I'm in school now. I'm 47. I'm in a master's degree program. I ain't saying that to toot my own horn. It ain't nothing to toot. But I'm doing it. And you can do it too. All you have to do is have the motivation and the skill set to move forward. and you can't hold yourself back. You know, we are great people, and we come from a great people, and we can do great things. You can do great things. You just have to have the mindset. You have to have the determination. You know, like college ain't gonna be easy. You know, like Miss Ball said, you know, it's a variety of sources out there for funding for school. But first, you gotta at least want to go there. Ain't nobody knocking on the door talking about, hey, you want to do something? You gotta be ready to do something. You know what I mean? You know, when I was coming up, you know, they used to say the post office was one of the best jobs you can get. You know, that's coming up in the projects. Man, I got in the post office. And let me tell you, it was one of the best jobs you can get. Tell you the truth, they don't even pay that well. But if you ain't used to something, then that's what you think it is. And I mean, you know, let me go back to this slide right fast. All right, let me see. Now this what you see the 30,000. That's what they offered me at the post office. I was older than 27 though. Might have been like 36. And I had a bachelor's degree. So you see the amount of money that you can make with a bachelor's degree, that says 52,000. But I didn't know. I wasn't used to anything. I thought the 36 was a lot of money. That's not a lot of money. If you're making $36,000 a year and you got 3 kids, you struggling. Now, I'm not trying to, you know, throw a dagger at anybody's heart, but that's just what it is. So let's get out of the slave mentality and get into the business of being more successful, because that's what we want to be. You know, I love you guys. I love these youth. I'm out here doing whatever I can to make it succeed through my own depressions and my own shortcomings and everything. You know, I'm doing what I have to do to make sure that your kids can be more successful, because that's what it's about. So you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless, and good night.